Hey, it is Steffi at the way home. And I'm super excited to bring this video to you today because today is day one of the 90-day challenge. If you haven't seen the previous video, it's only about 7-8 minutes long. Give it a quick review. And I'm going to share with you today what I talked about in that video. And that is how we get in our own way. Why, when we're not where we want to be, we are the thing in the way. And I am throwing myself up on the altar of sacrifice to use the system that I teach other people right here on YouTube to get out of my own way. I have a very specific goal that I want to reach by January, and I am putting my system to the test while I teach it to you so that you can, number one, learn for free, and number two, watch me prove how well it works. So without any further ado, I am going to get to the 4 ways in which we all get in our own way. The very first way that we get in our own way when it comes to reaching certain goals, whether they're large or small, is we do not know how to ask for what we want. And I know that sounds insane, almost impossible, but there is a very specific way to express what it is we want to experience in our life. And what I like to say to people is that the universe is a mirror. It is not a magician. If you don't know how to express what you want, how in the world does the larger universe, the place in which all of our higher selves, all of our dreams and wishes live, how is it going to know to deliver what we want? We do not know how to be specific. We do not know how to ask for one thing, and we tend to make the target way too wide. I say it all the time in self-care school. I'm going to change the name of that, by the way. I'm going to call it the Transformation Academy, transformation with the number 4 in the middle, because I'm going to be sharing with you in just a minute what the transformation framework is to get where you want to be. So the universe, God, the Holy Spirit, like whatever you are here working in concert with to make your dreams and aspirations come true, even if it's just you, you have to know what you want. There has to be a hard target. So when I teach self-care school, it's a 28-day program. We meet 5 times. Obviously, there's a first and a last meeting. So technically, it's 28 days long. And when students come in on night 1, so that we can start straight out of the gate, getting them moving in the direction of their dreams and goals, I will ask every single person, so what is your intention? And I love them to death, and I am not making fun of them because trust me, I was this way myself for a long time. I had to learn this system. I had to learn it the hard way. I had to develop it into something that was palatable and easily digestible. But when I ask grown adults what they want, and I would say, you know, I do an interview. I don't work with just anyone. You have to kind of show me that you're willing to do the work. And I would say, set an intention, come with something that you are truly passionate and willing to work towards achieving, and I will help you get going in that direction. And I will have grown adults, and I don't really work with people under 40 generally, just out of habit. Generation Y and Generation X are kind of like my wheelhouse. So grown adults in their 40s and 50s will give me a laundry list. They will go through this meandering tale of wanting to be healthy and wanting to spend more time being present and get a better job and find the perfect mate. And I listen with the most loving ears that I have and that I can. But then we have to get real. And I say it to students all the time, like, I love you. I want you to know I love you straight out of the gate, but we're going to have some hard conversations because if no one's told you, I'm here to tell you. You cannot accomplish in 28 days what you haven't managed to do in 30 or 40 or 50 years. I have students in their 60s and in their 70s who haven't done one of the things that they show up with on night 1 that they think they're going to accomplish in 28 days. And again, I'm not laughing at them. We laugh together. But yeah, no bueno, wrong answer. You have to give the universe a hard target. Number 1, it deserves it. You deserve it. Number two, if one of those things was your goal, you're already not paying attention to what you're asking for, because every single one of those things, find a mate, get a better job, be healthy, they contain multitudes of tinier, smaller goals that have to be achieved one at a time, maybe two. And if you're extra special, if you come from outer space, maybe you can do 3 of those smaller intentions, those smaller goals at one time. But you are not going to get healthy in 28 days if you smoke, if you drink, if your diet is poor and you don't exercise. So number one way that we get in our way is we don't even know how to ask for what we want. The second way in which we routinely get in our way is we underestimate what it takes to achieve our goal. We have this idea of what we want to happen. We have this vision of how we want our life to look, but we have no clue as to the level of self-culling. We have no clue as just to the amount of on the ground, boots on the ground work that has to be done, because we don't tend to think that way. Just human nature, number one, loves its comfort zone. Number two, does not like change, not even resist change. We really don't like change. So we totally underestimate what it is going to take for this human who hasn't done it yet to do it in 28 days. The third way in which we get in our way routinely is we overestimate our ability to do the things that need to be done, because as I just shared, we despise change as a species generally. So we are not paying attention to the fact that what we want is going to require a profound amount of self-introspection, self-awareness, and self-discipline. And the fourth way in which we get in our way, if you have all of the first 3 down, you have a singular focused intention. You have done the research, whether in your brain or on the interwebs, and you know exactly what you need to do to get where you want to be, and you are willing to put in the work. If you've taken care of the first 3 things, typically, routinely, what we forget to do is get a community, or even, it doesn't need to be a community. It can be one other person. But we don't get support and accountability to work towards that goal. And as I said, I don't care if you have the first 3. If you don't have support and accountability, you're not going to make it. You need other people around you, preferably people on a similar journey. They don't need to be doing the same thing you're doing, but they are forward thinkers. They are self-aware people. They know how to do discipline without batting an eye. You need like winners in your corner, cheering you on, lifting you up when you don't make it, telling you the hard truth when you're lying to yourself, or you're trying to pull the wool over your own eyes because you said you wanted to do it, you said you were willing to do it, and then in your actions you belie that fact. So this is a whole big thing, but it can be boiled down into 4 things. You have to know how to ask for what you want. You have to truly understand what it takes to get it. You have to be searingly self-aware and willing to make the changes necessary. And you need a community, or at least one other person who can support you and help hold you accountable in love. This is why so many of us out there are not getting to the place we feel like we belong. This is why we're not living lives of purpose. I don't want to get into a big rigmarole, but we talk about a mental health crisis in this country. We don't have a mental health crisis. We have a lack of purpose and a lack of discipline crisis, for sure. So now that we know the 4 things that are wrong, because we can't fix what we don't see, right? Can't fix it if you don't know what it is. Now that we know what's wrong, I'm going to give you the transformation. I spell it with a 4 in the middle. Trans, the number 4, MATION. The transformation framework. 4 things that need to happen. 4 things that you can do now that you know what not to do in order to go live the life you desire and deserve. Okay, number 1. you have got to set for yourself a singular, focused intention. So I'm going to give you an example of what that means. A singular, focused intention is, I am going to make changes in my diet to remove junk food. Singular, focused. As opposed to, I want to eat better. Everybody wants to eat better. But until you set a singular and focused intention, I want to eat better is so broad. It is such a soft target. You're never going to strike it. And kudos to you if you do. I want to meet you. Leave a link in the comments as to how I can pick your brain, because we're going to do some Johns Hopkins, MIT brain work on you, some scans, some PET scans, some MRI scans. But we don't just say, I'm going to eat better and then do it. We have to be singular. We have to be focused. I'm going to stop smoking. That's a singular, focused intention, as opposed to, I want to live a healthier lifestyle. Healthier lifestyle can mean 10 million different things depending on who you are and what day of the week it is. So I hope you're getting my point. Singular, focused intention. Transformation framework, piece number 1. Number 2, we have to make a list of small, actionable steps. You have to look at that singular, focused intention and know in your heart and in your head, we're going to put them both together for this whole journey. You have to be able to, with your heart and your head, sit down, write out what you know you need to do in order to get to that goal, to get to that final destination, because you cannot get there if there are not certain things you're willing to do. Otherwise, you would already be there. So, example is, let's take, I'm going to remove junk food from my diet. So you know what your triggers are. You know what you eat. Here's a list of small actionable steps. I'm not going to buy processed food and bring it into my home. I'm going to be certain that when I go out to a restaurant, I know the menu beforehand. I'm going to prepare my own food, including condiments and dressings at home. All of these are small actionable steps. But for people who say, I want to remove junk food from my diet, who then say, I'm not going to eat out, or I'm just going to be careful when I sit down to a meal. No, you're not. Because if you were going to do that, you would have already done it. We need really, truly demonstrative ways that we can prove to ourselves with a list every day that we have specific steps that we're going to take in order to reach that goal that we have in a certain course of time, and you can determine the time frame. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for people to actually put this process into place. The way in which I teach self-care school is it is a 28-day program, and we meet weekly because, believe you me, it is a work in process. It takes the first 2 to 3 weeks just to get yourself going in the right direction. To understand, you're going to see the ways you've been getting in your way. You're not going to hear my words today and go do this perfectly. We're going to see each other in a video in 1 week's time, and you're going to sit on the other side of that camera and go, man, she was right. I've literally had students in class on week 2 say, wow, it was the first time I ever got called a bitch in school. A student said, that bitch was right. It was the best bitch I've ever been called. So it takes a few weeks just to get you to the point where you can get yourself out of your own way. Because we got decades, right? If I'm talking to 40, 50, and 60-year-olds here, we have decades of bad behavior that we have to overcome. It doesn't happen in a day. I've been doing this work for years on myself. So I'm not here to tell you that you're going to do it the way I'm going to do it, but I'm going to walk you through it. So the third transformation framework is you have to understand the difference between motivation and discipline. Because if you remember back, the third way we get in our way is we overestimate our willingness to change. And because we do that, we have this fantasy that we can rely on something called motivation when it comes time to change. I'm going to break that down for you. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes. It's like the leaf on a tree. It's here 1 minute, it's flying off the next. It's dead, it's shriveled on the ground, brown and crunchy. Motivation is a feeling, and your feelings throughout this process are going to fluctuate. You cannot rely on whether or not you're motivated to keep your commitments to yourself. You have got to learn to love discipline. You have got to learn to make friends with discipline. You've got to learn to put your arms around and love discipline. I have learned to love discipline after a lifetime, decades of absolutely abhorring the word as to the degree I wouldn't even consider it. Discipline was not for me, which as it turned out, that's why I never was where I was. So when I finally made discipline my friend in one particular area in my life, everything changed. And what is discipline? Because if you're like me, and a lot of people are, because I always ask this question in self-care school, I say, I'm going to give you a word. I want your gut reaction. Write down one word that comes immediately to your mind, or whatever you feel in your body, write it down. Don't elaborate, 1 or 2 words. And I say the word discipline, and people do not like it. For the most part, it is always some flurry of negativity coming back at me when I ask people to tell me the word they wrote down on their page. So if you're anything like 90% of the population, you don't like discipline either. But here's what discipline is. I'm going to change your perception of discipline right now. We have a saying in self-care school, I don't have to do it, I get to do it. Discipline is a promise that you make to your future self. Discipline is a promise that you make to your future self. The you that is living in the new reality you want to create. It's a promise you make to that version of you to do it anyway. Real self-care, nobody tells us this either. Real self-care is doing the thing you do not want to do simply because it needs doing. That's what real self-care is. Self-care that's manicures, pedicures, dinners out with friends. No, that's not self-care. Self-care that leads to real, true, deep, infinite self-love is doing the things you don't want to do simply because they need doing. And when you do that, you develop a version of a relationship with yourself where, number one, you see how strong you are. You understand how powerful you are. And you gain a confidence that if you're watching this video, I would venture to guess you do not have right now. You gain a confidence over keeping a discipline because you learn that you can trust yourself. You learn to be trustworthy to you. You know, we tell ourselves lies all day. A lot of us, many of us, probably most of us. We say we're going to get up tomorrow morning and we're going to walk. We're going to get out of work tonight. We're going to go to the gym. We're going to, Saturday night, free for all with the drinks and the dinner and the desserts. But Monday morning, we are going to hop too. And 12 minutes into our promise to ourselves, we found 10 other reasons to not do it. That takes a toll. That takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on your psychology. It takes a toll on your self-worth. And if you can't keep your word to yourself, is it any wonder other people can't keep their word to you? Because if you can't keep your word to yourself, they're not keeping their word to themselves. And why should they value how you feel over how they feel? See, we don't talk about it this way, but this is why keeping our word to ourselves matters. It shows us how strong we are. It reveals how powerful we are. And it provides confidence in our ability to know, I can trust me. I tell myself the truth. I hold up my end of the bargain. You can fall in love with discipline through this process. In fact, I promise people that they will. Because the version of you that you are about to become, every day you're going to become 1%, 5%, 10% better. You're going to fucking love that person. You're going to start to dig that person, and you're going to understand, oh, This is how I get to be that person. All I have to do is work this discipline, keep my word. And then you realize I don't have to do it. I get to do it. It's powerful stuff. And when you hear it that way, right? I have chills all over my body. When you hear it that way, it lands differently. And I hope it landed differently for you. That's number 3. So number 4, the 4th transformation framework is you have to find at least one person, preferably a group of people, who understand the value of discipline, who already know how to work it, who are willing to watch you go through your process and support you, hold you accountable, and tell you the truth when you need to hear the truth. That is the missing ingredient in so many people's desire to move forward and be better, be more, have more, get more, see more. This is how we get in our way, people. This is how we get in our way, family. So, if you do not have people, I will say this. I run an online community called In the Loop. It is completely free. It is weekly inspiration around these topics. The class is full of, like free downloads, PDFs, stuff that you can access to help you along your journey. I am not pushing this. You certainly don't have to avail yourself of it, but because we're here together, I want to make that offer to you. It is a completely free tool for you to jump right in, get a few things that you need to assist you on your path towards your goal. If you're there, if you're ready to set an intention and move towards it and work this 90-day challenge with me. In the Loop on Podia, there's a link down in the description. Log on, sign up. You'll give me your first name and your email, and you'll be in the loop. And you will get weekly inspiratory messages. You'll have things that you can download for free. As I've shared, there's quite a bit there to be gleaned. And at least you'll be surrounded by other people who have done this work or are doing this work. And it's full of students who are in my program and people who have graduated from the program and decided to stick around. So I offer that to you free of charge. My honor. So, I am going to get into now. We are coming down to it, folks. This is day 1 of my 90-day transformation framework challenge. I am using the system I teach on myself because I have a very specific intention that I have been getting in my own way of for the last 12 to 18 months. And I'm finally ready to get out of my way. I learned everything I need to learn. I saw what I needed to see, and it is go time. It's crunch time. I have an intention that I'm going to share with you. You're going to watch me work my program because I have a list of commitments. I know how to work discipline. I love discipline. Discipline has become a comfortable blanket to me. It has become the guardrails on my day, the guardrails on my life. It holds me in place when the winds and the seasons of change want to bat me about to and fro. We just came through a hurricane here in Florida, and I know that energy well. Most people live with a hurricane in their mind 24/7. And my discipline, I actually have one that I work. I'm going to be honest about something with you in just a moment. I've been working in discipline for months and months with something in my life that was so challenging. And this discipline has supported me to the degree where I feel like I'm healed from this thing that I use the discipline to address. For many years, I struggled with compulsive eating and sugar addiction. It tore my life apart for a very, very long time from childhood. And I'm just about 57 years old. So having said that, I decided to apply this process to my food plan. I decided to take discipline and use it in a place I never in my life thought to use it, which is insane. But, it takes what it takes, and we get where we're going when we're supposed to. I began applying my transformation framework in January to a food plan, a food program for myself. And what I can tell you is that 9+ months in, I have not had one single granule of sugar in 2024. I have not had one single binge in 2024. And I would say that 95% of the compulsive food thoughts that used to live in my brain rent-free 24/7, 95% of that is gone the majority of the time. When I tell you that I feel free, and when I tell you how much I love this book, I use these pretty little journals from Amazon and matching pens to kind of make it a game for myself. These journals are perfect. They're 60 pages. There's one page for each day. And if you look at my book, I use it fully. Like I fill it in every day for each page. And then on the new day, I turn the page on whatever was yesterday, because yesterday doesn't matter if I don't repeat my success today. And then at the end of a month, they're pretty, but they're paper. It doesn't matter. I throw them in the trash, because what I did last month doesn't matter if I don't do it this month. So I have a link for these books down in the description, the pens to match. It keeps me feeling like it's cute and it's a game. I wake up every day and I check the book and I have my plan for the day already written out. And I love these books, these journals and pens, but you can use any book you'd like. And I'm going to show you in a minute my book for my 90-day challenge. Very similar, same exact thing, same kind of book, same matching pen. But I am going to share with you right now my intention, my list of daily commitments that constitute my transformation framework discipline. And you are going to watch me. And the proof's going to be in the pudding. And you might be sitting back watching this video going, yeah, I'll wait to join her because I don't know if she's right. She seems a little kooky. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know if you find me interesting. I don't know if this is informative. I don't know if you think I'm stark raving insane. All of the three are probably in some way true, in some fraction of potential. But I can tell you that I am going to work this program that I teach to people on myself for this intention. So here it goes. All right, I have it written out. My intention for this 90-day challenge is I have a monetized YouTube channel earning me $5,000 a month by January 10th of 2025. That is my set intention. It is singular. It is focused. And if you notice, it's written in the affirmative. I'm not saying I want a monetized YouTube channel. I'm not saying I hope to have or I'm working towards. No, I have it. I have it. This is how the universe works. It's a mirror, not a magician. If you don't know if you have it, if you don't think you deserve it, well, it's just going to confirm what you think, what you know. So I have learned this lesson in my walk and in my work thus far. When you tell the universe you want something, you know how they say, be careful what you wish for? I'm not wishing for it. I'm telling it. I am declaring it to you and the YO universe today. I have a monetized YouTube channel earning $5,000 a month by January 10th of 2025. That's my singular, focused, affirmative intention. Okay, you got that? Here is my list of commitments because I do understand what I need to do to get there. I have done the research. I've spent a year and a half jerking around on YouTube. I'm finally ready to get out of my own way, and I'm not beating myself up for that again. By the way, there is no shame in this game here. We don't shame people. It takes what it takes to get where we're going. You're going to be fully supported by these videos if you come into the loop. Yeah, so much support, so much love. There is no judgment there. We don't have time for judgment. Judgment is the robber of peace, if you didn't know. So I don't judge. But I have a list of commitments that I have thoroughly researched. I know exactly what it's going to take for me to get this goal done within 90 days, if not sooner. And I have listed 11 daily commitments to which I am willing to create a discipline. I am creating a discipline for myself for a monetized YouTube channel out of these steps. And here we go. Number one. And by the way, here's today. If you see, we're halfway through. I'm already crossed out half the list. So I'm going to explain to you why that's important in a minute. So my list of commitments is, number one, I am up at 6 a.m. Number two, my me work, I'll explain that in a minute. My me work is done by 10 a.m. So here's what I've learned in 57 years of life. If you have a wake up and wing it mentality, yeah, you're probably not where you want to be. I have something that I call daily practice, and I use those words very specifically. It is daily and it is a practice. There's nothing perfect about it, but daily I practice setting myself in a balanced center. I'm a full-time job, people. I'm a full-time job unto myself. I have in this book, because this is my food program book, I have my me commitments. I have 8 things I do every single day. 6 out of the 8 commitments I have written in my book every day must be done. Absolutely have to be done in order for me to check my day off and know that I provided profound self-care that day. So my me work has to be done at 10. And trust me, my me work takes about 3 to 4 hours. So I've given myself a nice little cushion. It can absolutely be done by 10. I am being realistic about my life, my lifestyle, my choices. I'm giving myself grace. I'm not beating myself over the head with, you have to be done by 8 o'clock. I'll never be done by 8 o'clock. So I'm not going to write that down, because that means I'm not keeping my word to myself, right? Back to that. So number 1, up at 6. Number 2, my me work is done by 10 a.m. Number 3, I have to write out the plan for tomorrow, because I don't want to wake up and try to figure out what it is I need to do. I wake up with a plan every day. I wake up with a food plan, and I wake up with a 90-day challenge plan. So I have to write out what tomorrow is going to look like the same way I wrote out today. In fact, I'm reading you Saturday, October 12th right now. Number 4, I have something called a recipe for success. It's a worksheet that takes any large goal and breaks it down into 5 ingredients. The recipe for success is a free download. If you join in the loop, you can go right to the site and download it today. It comes from the movie A Million Miles Away. That's available on Amazon. If you haven't seen it, watch it 10 times and understand what it actually takes to get where most of us are going. Because when you want a big dream, it takes big steps to get there. That movie is so incredibly inspiring, and I totally stole their recipe for success from the movie. So it is a worksheet available in the loop online in my Podia community. Number 5, I call it 5 mirror minutes. It literally says 5 mm. I stand in the mirror for 5 minutes every day, and I don't just look at myself, I look into myself. I make eyeball to eyeball contact in the mirror, and I tell myself how great I am, where I dropped the ball, how I got in my own way. I celebrate my wins. I lick my wounds after I've not done what I said I would do, because I'm human. And as long as I've been at this game, yeah, you can still get in your own way. And I do it, but I certainly don't do it as much as I ever did. So I spend 5 minutes every day looking into myself, looking at myself, through myself, into myself, and speaking kindness, speaking support, speaking truth to myself when I need to hear a hard truth. And that is an imperative part of my practice. Honestly, I hate it. I don't like it. I dread it every day, but it's on the list, so it has to be done. Then I have to work from 12 to 2 at this. I'm going to do 4 hours a day for this 90-day challenge, specific to my intention. So I'm going to be working from 12 to 2 p.m. every day, during which time, number 6, I will film and edit. And that is to include 2 to 3 videos a week. So you are going to see me on here. We're going to be catching up 2 to 3 times a week on YouTube with long form videos. And number 7 is shorts on the days in between the long form videos. So a minimum of 6 shorts a week, where I take pieces of the long videos and I turn them into shorts, so that I can see if, you know, we can get more people in this community and more people getting out of their own way. And then I have to work every day between 3 and 5. And during 3 to 5, I am going to spend 20 minutes on social media, because I absolutely detest it, but I understand its value. So for 10 minutes, I go on there and I praise and I glow up my friends and my contacts. And for 10 minutes, I promote my own work, my own YouTube videos, my own ebooks, my own classes. That's 20 minutes a day tops of social media. It's plenty for me. It's more than plenty. And then the remainder of that 2-hour window, that 3 to 5 window, is create evergreen content, ebooks, online webinars. A lot of writing gets done. I've published 6 books. I love writing, but when you're doing it for work, it's work. So I have to plan to do it like it's a job. So that's number 9. Create evergreen content. Number 10 is learn 30 minutes a day. So I have a membership in VRA, Video Ranking Academy, by Sean Cannell. It's a great program. But I also have something from Caitlin Batcher called Scale with Success. I watch YouTube out the wazoo, all kinds of videos to learn how to be a better online content creator, how to better reach people, how to better be of service. So every day I have a commitment for 30 minutes to learning through one of those outlets. And then number 11 on my list is no TV before a certain time. So during the week, when I will be doing this Monday to Friday, there's no TV. The TV doesn't even get turned on before 6 o'clock. And on Saturdays, the TV cannot get turned on before 3, because Saturday's kind of like a half day. I'm going to do the work that I want to do, the work that needs to be done. But Saturday and Sunday, I tend to prefer not to work. Because, by the way, I'm a psychedelic ceremony facilitator. I own, operate, and I am the founder of an intentional community in Palm Beach County, Florida called The Way Home. And I still have work that I do with that. Like, I have clients. We do ceremony. I host group events here. So I have a whole other job that is not a job. It's so my passion and my calling. But as I shared in the first video that I told you to go watch from yesterday, I do want to transition into online content creation. I want to be able to work from anywhere in the world. I want to hold space and host ceremony if and when I want to do it, as opposed to relying on it for my support and sustenance. So that's how we do it, folks. We set a focused, singular, affirmative intention. We create a list of small, actionable steps that we commit to with discipline, not motivation, not willpower, discipline. And then we set out to do that every single day. Hopefully in a supportive community that provides honesty and accountability on your journey. So you will mirror the people who are on their own path, doing their own goal/intention, and they will mirror you. You'll pick them up when they fall down. They'll support you when you're winning, and vice versa. It's imperative to have a support and accountability group. So again, if you don't have that in your life, In the Loop is a free online community on Podia. Drop down in the description and you can find a link to join for free. Go and get that Recipe for Success worksheet. It really does take large goals and break them down into tiny points. Oh, I forgot to mention, yeah, that's one of my steps, is my Recipe for Success. I have to read it and rewrite it. I have to read it every day and I have to rewrite it once a week. So I take the worksheet, I write today's date on it, I read it because I filled it out a day or two ago, and I do that for a week. And at the end of a week, I start all over and I throw the old one out. I rewrite it. That's me telling myself my goals, telling myself what I need to do to get there. It's a profoundly powerful tool. And by the way, you can keeping notes in devices is great. Technology is so convenient for sure, but there is power in writing down, in seeing in your own hand, in your own handwriting, in ink on paper, what your goals are, what you're willing to do to achieve those goals, when you accomplish them. So there is a physiobiology to scratching goals and commitments off of a list. When you put a check mark next to something because it's done, or you run a line through it because you got it completed and you don't have to look at it anymore, that does something to our neurochemistry that allows us to get a boost of dopamine, of testosterone. Like, it has an effect neurochemically, it has an effect in our hormones. It is nature's antidepressant. It is nature's motivator, if you will. Not that we're counting on motivation. We're not, because discipline is the promise that we make to our future self that we'll do the thing we said we would do. You know, motivation is a feeling. Willpower is a feeling. They don't work. They don't work. But crossing stuff off of a list, especially when you don't want to do it, listen, do your homework. Google this. There is a neurochemistry and a hormonal effect behind crossing things off of a list. And the harder they are, the more we don't want to do them, the greater the physiological response to that act and the more we get out of it. So you're going to fall in love with discipline. I hope for those of you who are just watching, you're even remotely inspired to just start thinking about an intention or a goal that you'd like to reach. But by all means, sit back, keep your bucket of popcorn, watch me, wait for me to fall flat on my face because I'm not. I have a YouTube channel that gets me $5,000 a month by January. I promise you, it's happening. It's already happened, and my physicality is just catching up to what's already happened out in the 5D. But if you've set an intention today, if you're inspired enough to set a goal, write the goal in the comments. Let me know what you're chasing if it's not too personal, and I will be here to support you and glow you up. And if you're in the loop community, by all means, we will be having some interaction one-on-one. So yeah, I have that there for you. Thanks for paying attention. If you made it to the end of the video, Mazel Tov. I'm thrilled to death. Yeah, that's what I got. Today's day one. We got 89 days to go, but I'm halfway through my list already. I feel like $1,000,000, and I already know what my future looks like. I just have to catch up to it. And that's what's happening for most of us. If you have a goal, if you have a version of you that you can see, that you exists somewhere in the YO universe, we just have to catch our form up to what's already happened energetically. So yeah, as always, you are so seen. You are so loved. Steffi signing off. Aho.